Greetings Space Cadets. Today we're going to have a look at some of the upcoming features in version 1.7.1. These updates are the expanded archiving system, which allows for cloud backups, the order duplication, the barcode label system, and express Stocktake, as well as a few other features. So to get started, if you're doing a self-install, you'll have been sent the link to download the latest version. So if we open up the zip file, and we simply drag that out to our desktop. Of course, with me operating multiple screens, it would appear on the other screen. Once you've extracted the file, to find your installation file, right-click on the icon, go to Open File Location, and this will give you the folder where your system's installed. Simply drag the one that you exported from the zip file, dump it across, and when it says you want to replace, press yes. And there we go, that's all you need to do in there. Now, when you next launch the system, first a security warning will come up from Access. Just ignore that and press Enable Content. Next, you'll be prompted to install the latest update. So as long as you're moving from version 1.7.0 to 1.7.1, you just simply press yes, and that will install everything for you. And there we go, that's that installed. Then we'll just simply wait for it to load back up again. Once the login screen appears, of course you can type your username and password, or you can scan on with a barcoded ID badge. And as this is the first time that you'll be loading up the system with the new version, you'll be given the release notes. Of course you can always read the expanded ones by clicking on the version number at the bottom there. First up, let's have a look at the archiving system. Let's click on Options. And here you'll see in the middle there's a section for backup. You have the choice to back it up to any or all of these. You can go to Google Drive, Adobe Creative Cloud, there's Microsoft's OneDrive or Dropbox, or you can select a custom location if you have a network storage device such as myself, or if you have an external hard drive or USB that's always plugged in that you wish to back it up to. Backups are performed every time you press the quit button and the first time that you log in on a day. To enable a backup, just simply choose the one that you'd like to use, change it to yes, and press save, and your option will be saved. You can also back up straight away by pressing the backup now button, and that will execute whichever ones that you have enabled. The backups will then be saved the same way as they're currently being backed up locally, with the current date and time that they're created. If you try to activate one of these but don't have the necessary software installed on your computer, the backup will not function. And also it requires it being in the default location on the hard drive that the manufacturer has set up for Google+, OneDrive and such. But if you have any problems with that, just contact us and we'll set that up for you. Next we're going to have a look at order duplication. This system is going to be laying the framework for the standing order system, which is going to be coming in a future update. But for just duplicating orders, first click on Customer Sales, then go to Order Entry and History. And once that loads, select our customer, choose the order that we'd like to duplicate, and then simply press the Duplicate Order button. That will duplicate the order and bring you to the order entry and update screen just for you to review it. It will of course have the current date, but all of the reference numbers and notes, everything will be transferred across if you've had that on the previous order. And then you can adjust quantities as necessary there. And then once you're happy with that order, you then can of course click to calculate the prices and then pick the order and proceed as normal there. You can see the order is just on the top there as well. Next we're going to take a look at the new Barcode Management system. The Barcode Management system is also a requirement if you want to use the Express Stocktake system. So let's have a look at that, and let's go to Customer Sales and then Barcode Management. So here you'll see an expanded version of the previous Barcode Management screen. To program a barcode, you just simply have to find the product, click on it, and then click in the barcode you wish to update, and then simply scan it with your reader. You can as well, if you don't have a barcode for it, the system will generate one automatically, and these barcodes will allow you to use the retail till and the Stocktake system. There are 5 different types of barcode that you can choose from, and they're illustrated here. I'll get to those in a moment. But to choose the quantities of each type, it's simply a case of on the side here, clicking on the one that you want and saying how many labels it is that you want to print. The labels print 21 per A4 sheet. The details to order the correct size are all illustrated on the top here, and you can see the order that they go down in. You'll also see at the top there is a blank labels. So if in this scenario here we've said that we just want 1 of those and 5 of those, we can click generate labels and we'll have a look there. So let's say you print that off and you've got the 6 on there, but you don't want to waste the rest of the sheet. So next time, if you put 6 in there for the sheet that you've got, generate labels again, and you'll see that it starts from the last one, so you can reuse the paper so you can get every single label that you need on there. You can also as well, just to start whenever you're going to put the labels on the products, and it's just to press clear labels, and that resets everything, all of your products to 0. Next off, let's have a look at the different types of labels that we've got here. There are 2 sets, one for unit items, such as in our case we're saying Watch Dogs 2, the Xbox game, and then there's weighted items as well, and they simply display whether or not it's a kilogram price or if it's an each price. So the first one is sales outer. Now this is if you're selling a full case, so in our example here with Watch Dogs 2 we're saying that there is 5 in a box, and that's if you're selling a complete box, so if you're like wholesale. And that will also display the price depending on the price group that you select from here. It defaults to whatever the till group is. Next one is sales unit, so in this case it would be the individual game, and that has the barcode on it there, and that will be the one that you would stick on the actual product. Next one is the sales shelf. So the shelf in your shop, you would have this one here. It just has the each barcode on it, the each price, but the extra information that this comes in an outer of 5, just mainly for staff's reference. You'll notice as well that it also has the product ID is printed on all of these as well. The next one is the stock outer. So this is the one that you would keep in your storage room, and you would simply place that on the box when it sits on the shelf in your warehouse. Next one is the stock shelf. So same again, this one would be for in the back in your warehouse, wherever it is that you keep your products, and this one has both sets of barcodes on it. So it has the unit barcode, that will be for the individual game in our case, and the outer barcode, and you can place this on the shelf at the front, which will aid you when you're doing stock takes. If you have several boxes and maybe several units, rather than pulling them out, you can just simply scan the barcodes on there, and that'll add it onto your stock take. But we'll cover that in the stock take section coming up. So that's the main features of that, and there's also an extra way to generate the barcode so that you don't have to go through and look for every single product. You can of course also use the search system, so if we want to go for our Watch Dogs one again, just start typing it in and you'll be able to see it there. There is another way to generate this list. If we just close that, return to our main menu, and we'll go to Stock Control and Purchase Orders, and we go to Fill Orders. So from here we'll select a purchase order and simply click Generate Labels, and then that'll bring you to this form. I know that we can't see them on here because there's a lot of products in there, but if we now go to Generate Labels, so once those labels are generated, you'll see that it's generated everything for the order that we just received there. So this one had USB drives, so we have individual ones to go on each individual USB drive. We also have the replacement one for the sales shelf, and at the bottom there as well, the one for the warehouse shelf. So there we go, so that was another way of generating the labels. So next we're going to have a look at some of the smaller modifications that have been made to the system. The first one is if we go to Accounts Management and Customer Statements, you'll see now there is the date selection grid for automatic date selection. So you've got the days, the weeks, the months, the years, or the tax years, and really you can see which dates that each of those run to. So if we were to select the last year, see the dates, and it also lists all of the customers who have had invoices during that period, and you can simply plus or minus, and it will jump a year at a time and show you who's in there. Obviously we don't have many in here because it's just our testing system, but that just allows you greater flexibility to quickly generate the customer statements that you need. Next we're going to have a look at the VAT Invoice Summary. So to access that you can access that by going to Accounts Management, Accounts Report and the VAT Invoice Summary. And this one again, you can select any date range and it will list all of the invoices that you've had for that period and how much the sales value was and the VAT that was on each of those orders. You can also export this information to Excel just by clicking the Export button, and you'll be asked to choose a location where you want to save it. We'll save it to our desktop. And there you go, that will just be exported there. Then of course you can put that into any other software or just archive it for your own purposes. So for the next one, we've added extra locations where you can email invoices to customers. At present, the automatic email system, as long as you have Microsoft Outlook installed, you would go to Account Management, Customer Statements, select the customer, and you could tap email, or you could go to the quick export, find the invoice and tap email, and that will generate the email and send it to the customer. A quicker method rather than having to drill into this system every time. Now if we go to customer sales, there are two ways. First of all, we'll go to order history. Once that loads, we'll choose a customer, click on an invoice and then just simply tap email, and that will send the completed email out to that customer. Or alternatively, from the fill orders screen, same again, just simply select the order that you wish to email. So you can always do this whilst you're picking the order. Once you've picked the order, you can then email it out to them straight away so they've got their invoice before you even arrive with their order. Next, we're going to have a look at the new Express Stocktake system. Now, I remind you from before, this system relies entirely on barcodes and has been optimized for touch. So to find the Express Stocktake system, we simply go to Stock Control and Purchase Orders and click on Express Stocktake. Now once the form loads, you'll see what the current stock levels are. There are a few settings that you can choose within here to decide what stock item is that you want to count. You also have the option to exclude groups as well. So there are certain things that, in our example, I have lots of digital products which don't have a physical stock representation. So those can be disabled. So various accounting categories, photographic services and such, those won't be included in the Stocktake. We're only interested obviously in physical items. You can also choose to enable or disable services as well in the options menu. If we hop back here, and just in the middle here we've got exclude services from Stocktake. If any product that you've marked as a service then won't be included in the list that we can run a Stocktake on. So go back to our Stocktake form. There are several more options. You can start a Stocktake, finalize a Stocktake when it's complete, and in some cases on this page an error might appear in the stock count columns. I don't know if this will appear on yours. This is solely because my computer is so overpowered, and the way that Access calculates means that it actually renders the screen before it's finished rendering all the calculations. But if you do get any little errors popped up on here, just simply tap the refresh button and that will clear those for you. So when you're ready to start a Stocktake, there are several things that happen. Once you press the Start Stocktake button, if this is a brand new Stocktake, you'll be taken straight to the page to input your Stocktake or to begin scanning. If you have already started a Stocktake, if a Stocktake has already been started, either from your terminal or from another member of staff's terminal, you'll be given the option to join that Stocktake. So one person could do one side of the warehouse, another person could do the shop floor, say. Or if you've paused your own Stocktake, you'll be given the option to resume it at your terminal. For our demonstration here, we only have two products that we're interested in. So that's a USB flash drive. So at the minute we're expecting to find one outer and 3 units. For our demonstration as well, one box of these USB flash drives contains 10 USB flash drives. And just for a weighted item in there, we have magic beans. We're expecting to find 2 outers and 10 kilograms. For this demonstration, magic beans come in 20 kilogram bags. So next, let's start the Stocktake. Simply tap the button at the top of the screen there for Start Stocktake. Now once the Start Stocktake screen appears, you'll notice that in our case the screen has rendered faster than the calculations have been performed, so we have this little error here. If we just tap refresh, this may not appear on your screen, it's just simply because of the speed of this computer. And you can see the current stock levels, which is the same as what we had on the previous screen, and the new stock. This will accumulate as you scan more products, and because we've excluded multiple categories, we're only seeing the part section, the miscellaneous for the Magic Beans, and Xbox titles that we're using for testing because they have barcodes on the back. You'll also see the location in the warehouse that you've assigned them to, so if you've got different places where you expect to find these products, that'll just show you there so the member of staff knows where to go. Another thing to note as well is once you start the Stocktake, you'll notice that your link back to the switchboard is gone. When you start a Stocktake, the system disconnects from the core database, so all of your orders, all of the customer details, suppliers, all of that information, you're separate from it, so that if you're using a tablet computer or a laptop, you have the ability to disconnect that from the wired network or go beyond the Wi-Fi range of your office. If your system is just all contained on one laptop or tablet, you don't need to worry about that. It's still disconnected, but you're still held with all your data locally. For our demonstration, as I've said before, this is optimized for touch. We're going to use an Amazon Fire 7-inch tablet. These tablets are really cheap. You can get a case with a strap on the back that I'll show you in a moment, and a Bluetooth barcode reader, which I highly recommend. Just for ease of doing stock takes, you can whiz around your shop floor or your warehouse rather than having to haul a larger laptop or tablet computer around with you. But this will require that you have full Wi-Fi coverage within your business, as we're going to use Chrome Remote Desktop to access the computer back at the desk via the Amazon tablet. So for our demonstration, we're going to have to imagine that the edge of my desk is a shelf in our warehouse. You see we have one USB drive ready. We have the barcode for the shelf in the warehouse on the side of the desk, and we also have the same for the Magic Beans. We don't of course have any Magic Beans, unfortunately they're out of stock at the minute, so we'll just have to go off the label here when we scan. We also have the one outer box for the USB drives with an outer barcode label on it. I also brought along a product that is not on our system, just to demonstrate if this barcode is not there, what will happen. You see we have our Amazon tablet here, just a nice cheap case there. As you can see, it's got the hand strap on the back that you can use just so you can simply hold it in one hand as you're walking around the warehouse. We also have our Bluetooth barcode scanner that we're going to use as well. This particular model, the battery lasts for ages. I was able to get about a month's work out of it before I needed to recharge it, and the recharging didn't take very long at all there. We also have as well these massive omnidirectional ones. If you're using, say, a laptop, I would recommend pushing it around on a trolley if you're going to use something like this. But this one here is perfect for doing the express Stocktake here. And as I said, for our demonstration, we're going to use the Amazon tablet, just because it's a lot easier to carry around as opposed to a full Surface tablet. If you're quite large, I can imagine your arm will be quite aching by the time you get back to your desk. So now we're going to connect to our desktop computer using Remote Desktop on our Amazon device. So we'll just turn that on. You can get these cheap, as I say there, they're only about £35. We'll fire up Chrome Remote Desktop and we'll select our server. And once you're on, in my case, because I have multiple monitors, I'll just have to move it around a little bit. But there you can see we've got the information displayed from our screen. We can see the items and we can start doing our Stocktake. To start off, just make sure that the red box for scanning barcode is selected at the top. It will be by default when the form loads, and all we simply need to do is start scanning. So we'll connect our Bluetooth barcode scanner. That takes a moment just to connect, and then all we need to do is come along to our products, So let's scan the box of the USB flash drives. So we scan that, and then we see on the screen there that one outer has been added to our Stocktake, and we would be expecting 3 additional ones. I actually only have one of these left in stock of the Aqua ones anyway. You can also scan on the front here, on the shelf one. So if you come along and you see that there are, say you see the 3 USB drives, we can just simply, rather than picking them up and scanning them, we can just scan away there. There is also another option for this as well. If you see that there are multiple of an item, let's say you see 5 more of these USB drives on your shelf, you don't have to scan them all individually. You'll see on the screen that there is a little button next to the barcode scanner that shows a keyboard icon. If we tap that, icon, that'll tell the system that the next item that we wish to scan is going to be a multiple and require user input. So let's scan the actual product this time. So there we go, we're showing the screen, and let's say we have 7 that we've found. So we tap 7 and then tap save. And there we'll see, in this case, it's actually now added up to 2 outers based on what we've added there. But for these items, as I say, you can just keep scanning away anything that you want until you get your stock count. Next we'll move on to the weighted item example. So we now have our magic beans. You can scan the outers just as normal, and there you see we've got 1 outer has been added for magic beans, and we're expecting 2 outers and 10 kilograms. So let's scan our 2 outers, and this time, because we know it's a weighted item, when we scan the unit barcode, you'll be given this screen once more. And let's say, just for ease, let's say that we have 5 kilograms that we've found. You can put decimal places in there as well, depending on how accurate you want to be, but that's only 3 decimal places. There we go. So that's demonstrating adding the products. Let's pop this down for a moment, and let's see what happens when we scan the barcode of something that is not a product on our system. And of course it pops up straight away saying not a valid barcode. So we'll just tap to clear that message there. Next up, if we go back to the main screen, you see that there are several more options on screen. So let's say that we want to pause our Stocktake. We've gotten so far, maybe it's a customer calls and wishes to place an order. Make sure that you're back within range of, if you're beyond the Wi-Fi limits of the core of the system, and we can pause the Stocktake. Pausing the Stocktake will keep all of these figures in our current scanning and allow us to resume later. Alternatively, you can save Stocktake, which will transfer whatever you've counted to the current Stocktake, and if you're using multiple people to perform the Stocktake, then all of their figures will all get compiled into one count, which can then be finalized later. But we'll go through all the cycles. So we'll go for pause the Stocktake, so as if we're going to resume. We was about to go somewhere for a moment, so we'll pause the Stocktake and you get transported back to the screen here. We'll just tap refresh on there so we can see. And at the minute you see 2 extra columns appear. As we have not saved our Stocktake, the items that we counted are not here. As this is just test data as well, you can see that there's a difference because obviously nothing has been brought back yet. So once you've completed whatever task it is you wish to do, and then you want to go back to resume your Stocktake, just simply click the Start Stocktake button again. And you'll be given a screen asking if you wish to join a Stocktake. In our case, yes, we do want to join the Stocktake. If you press no, this will clear everything that everybody has previously done and reset all the counts back to 0 to start a completely brand new Stocktake for everybody. But we wish to join the Stocktake, so we're going to press yes. And in our case as well, we've also been given an extra screen because we already had a Stocktake that we began on this terminal. So you can choose to say, do you want to start it again, which will clear your figures and allow you to start your section from scratch before it's been saved. But we don't want to do that, we want to resume, so we'll tap no, and we'll tap refresh again, and there we can see the Stocktake figures that we had before. So we've done our Stocktake now, and we're now going to save the Stocktake. So if we just tap save, now that you've returned to the main Stocktake page, you can see the current stock levels that you're expecting, you can see the new stock that you've just counted, or you can see the difference in the stock levels. You can then, as well as for more people, go to start Stocktake, and we'll join a Stocktake in this case. So we'll press yes. And here you'll still see the expected figures. We'll just scan another bag of magic beans. We'll then save that Stocktake. And you'll see that that's now been added to the magic bean count. Then once you're happy that your Stocktake has been complete, we can then save the new stock levels to the current stock levels. Please note as well that this will, anything that was excluded will also be reset to 0 in this scenario. So once we press finalize Stocktake, the system will restart. You'll be fully reconnected to the core of the database, and we can scan our ID badge. In my case, I'm logging in as the developer. And there you are, you're returned back to your system, your stock count has been saved. And also for your records, if we minimize this, right click and go to open file location on our icon, just bring that up from the second screen. If we go to files, there's a new folder called Stocktakes. And in here, you can see the Stocktake, the date that it was completed, and the member of staff who saved it. So if we open that file and bring it in from the second screen, we can see the details from our Stocktake. So of course we can see the current stock that we were expecting to find, the stock count that we performed, and the difference in that stock. So for our demonstration, we had an over amount of stock than what we were expecting, just because we were scanning everything just for testing. So that was a quick look at the updates coming in version 1.7.1. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to rate, comment, favourite and subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.